Hello, I'm the Budget Modeler, and carrying on with slightly different videos, we're going to be doing the 135th AFV Club FV101 Scorpion. Anywho, before we get into it, thank you to all my 2,000 subscribers. Yes, we made it. It's only taken 6 years. So, if you're watching this and are not a subscriber yet, then please subscribe to my channel, give the video a like and ring my bell. That'd be brill. Thank you. Firstly, Happy New Year one and all. I hope you and yours are having a really good one. In this build video, we're going to be working out which parts to replace with PE, snipping, sanding, gluing, losing wheels, cutting PE, bending PE, gluing PE, scratch building wheels, not very well, finding and replacing the scratch built wheel, making masks, and drawing with a fine liner pen. Right, with that out of the way, the first thing we're going to do is highlight in orange, of course, all the parts we'll be replacing with PE. All marked up so we can start. Now, let's start with getting the hull off and cleaned up. That's the hull cleaned up. Next we'll do the front section of the hull. Is that the right way? Yes. You sure? Yes. Okay. That's done. Now onto the suspension. Halfway through, I noticed I had got the front section on the wrong end, so using my homebrew glue, I loosened it off and popped it in the right place. Now we can finish off the suspension. Right, so we've resolved that cock up. Let's move on to the wheels. We'll start with the return wheels. Now the drive wheels. And finally, the road wheels. I decided to store the wheels in this box. Good idea, I thought, until I knocked it off. I found most apart from one road wheel. The problem was this was before the shed move. Maybe, just maybe, I'd find it in the move. Anywho, on with the build. We'll do the headlights. Headlights done and in place. So now for the arse end of the chassis. Hopefully we've got it in the right place. So let's get it done. There we have that part in the correct place. Up next, finishing the chassis suspension. Let's do this. Suspension on Satis. Now for more PE. There we have the PE on the lower chassis. Next, one of the stowage bins. We're going to clean it up and chuck a load of PE on it. So here we go with that. And there's the completed bin. Now we've got to make a cable reel using PE and styrene tubes. So let's get that cracked, shall we? That's the cable reel completed. Next up, we're going to remake the lost wheel. We went through the greeby box and found a similar road wheel, heated up some styrene, cleaned off the face of the wheel, then glued the heated styrene in place. That's the replacement wheel done for the moment. We'll pop that to one side and let the glue set. Now to move on to more PE, this time the exhaust shroud. So let's crack on. We used a file handle to wrap the shroud around to get the best look. Then glued that to the exhaust, then glued the whole lot to the body from the inside. And yep, even more PE. Here we're going to be doing the fan covers, wing mirrors and fire extinguishers. That's the upper part of the hull done. Now onto the turret. Here we're going to be snipping, sanding and gluing, obviously. So here we go with those. That's the turret all glued up, ready for all the PE to go on. So here we go with the PE. There we have the hull finished and the turret is nearly done. We're going to be filling in the smoke discharger connections, as RAF EOD Scorpions didn't have those. There we go, that's those holes filled. Now onto cleaning up the scratch built wheel and fitting all the rest of the wheels. So here we go with that. There we have the wheels glued in place. And fast forward 5 months. I found the wheel in the shed move, but I've only just got around to finishing this kit. So let's use my homebrew glue to loosen the scratch built wheel and get the original back on. Here we go with that. And there we have all the original wheels back on. Now for the tracks. The ones in the kit are the laggy band ones. Oh. So we've got the links from AFV Club for the Scorpion. So let's get them done. And there's this side done. They went together very nicely, and I also managed to get the correct sag, which I'm quite happy about. Now for painting. We pre-primed the model in rattle can grey and then tried something a little different. We sort of pre-shaded with panel liner, as you can see, and then we went on to do a slightly different green, and I can't remember which one I used, to do the little wiggly worms. So here we go with that little lot. There we have all the wiggly worms done. They just add a tad of visual difference. Now for the main colour. After much back and forth and use of the Mark 1 eyeball, I decided that Tamiya's XF58 olive green looked the best. Bear in mind this will have been painted by the RAF, not the Army, so it's a slightly different green. Anywho, let's crack on. There we have the tank sprayed in olive green. Also, it wouldn't be me if I didn't cock up at least 2 or 3 times. And I did. I knocked a load of tracks off. So, let's get them sorted, shall we? There we go, that's the track fixed. Next we added 2 drops of Tamiya XF58 Desert Yellow to 8 drops of Tamiya XF59 Olive Green, then added 10 drops of Tamiya Lacquer Thinners to make a highly thinned lighter green to hit all the high points and add a bit more definition in areas. So here we go with that. Once we'd done that, we moved on to panel lining. We did all the panel lines, let it dry, then removed the vast majority with a cotton bud, just like so. Then we have all the panel lining all sorted. Next up, the tracks. We'll start by painting the steel parts of the tracks using Vallejo Metallics 71.062 aluminium. Not forgetting the teeth on the drive wheel and all the tools. That's the tools painted silver. Next, we'll paint the vision ports flat black using Tamiya's XF85 NATO black, then we can add a gloss coat later, and as we've got the NATO black out, we can do the track pads and the road wheel rubbers, so let's get on with those. There we have those black parts painted. Now for all the tool handles. Using Tamiya XF58 as a base colour, desert yellow, followed by my favourite wood colouring, Vallejo 70.828 wood grain. There we have all the tools done and we're on the finishing stroke. Next we're going to be doing the indicators with Tamiya X26 Clear Orange and then we'll be doing the brake lights using Tamiya X27 Clear Red. So let's get on with those. That's those lights done. On the EOD vehicle there are two circles, one red to denote RAF EOD teams, I believe, and a light blue circle which the meaning of I'm unsure. So here we go with those. There we have the two circles sprayed. Here we're using chalk pastels for weathering. They mix just like paints. We're using orange, yellow, ochre and a dark brown to make a sandy colour. So here we go with that. That's the weathering done. Now to do the number plate. I use my Crycut software, we set it out in a correct scale, then printed it. Oh, go on then. Let's crank up the speedy uppy thing and crack on. The first one came out okay, so we'll use that one. Generally, I'm quite happy for my first proper attempt at making masks. Next, we need to make a rectangle to spray the black down for the registration plate. Then we're going to spray the black, and then finally we can do the lettering. So here we go with those things. And there we have the number plates done. Not too bad. All that's left is to sort out the 0, the A and the 9 using a fine liner pen, and we're done. Let's get it sorted. And there we are, complete. Here's the pictures. Well, there we go, my first ever full build video. That was a lot more work than my usual style of video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Anywho, thank you to you folks for watching this full build video. The sub is back next week. And if you want to help me grow this channel, then please subscribe to my channel. Help it grow, like the video, leave a comment and ring my bell. Remember folks, stay safe Keep on modelling.